hands are clean. That's so disrespectful. Okay, Miss Tia Marie. How do you prepare your athletes for longer distance runs? So the 200s, the 400s, the 800s, how would you get them ready for that?
When it comes to the 2 and 400, how you prepare your athletes is you kind of stress them, so you do over distance work. So for let's take the 400, what you do is you'll get athletes running like 450, 500 in training, but at a much slower pace and holding technique more and everything. That wasn't the question you asked. Say the question.
Oh, Miss Tia Marie. How do you prepare yourself or your athletes for 400?
How do you prepare your athletes for 400? Right. So when it comes to 400, everyone's a bit different. So a standard way of training for a 400 is you work on the first 200 and then the second 200. So let me give an example. So let's take me and training. What my coach might do is work on the first 200, and theoretically the first 200's got to be around 2 seconds faster than your second 200, because in your second bit of the 100 you're starting to develop lactic acid, and what lactic acid does is it makes the blood more acidic, which then starts to shut down your muscles and everything. So a way in which you can train athletes to run a more efficient 400 is by doing over distance work, so such as 450s, 500. So a training session could be a pyramid session. So what you could start off with is maybe a 300, have a little recovery, then 350, have a little recovery, then 400, and then 400 again. And what that's doing is it's kind of stressing the energy system just a bit, because what you kind of want to do is increase like your lactate threshold, if that makes sense. You know about that. And by increasing your lactic threshold, you're not going to receive or like feel lactic acid as quickly into the race as you might have done before. So everyone says the last bit of the 400 is the last 100 and everything, where you start feeling lactic. In a way, you will never get rid of it, but you can train to tolerate it, and that's where over distance work would come. So my advice when it comes to the 400 as starting athletes is just work on the first 200 and then the second 200. So learn to run the first 200 comfortably, and then whatever you do for the second 200 just follows on. So don't try and get any faster, just maintain what you've got.
Just asked the coach a really interesting question. I was saying to him that I find when I'm getting out the blocks, I give it 100% effort. When I get to like 40, 50, 60 meters, where most of the top athletes will then be getting into their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th gear and they float away, I feel like I'm gearing down and decelerating. So the coach that I was speaking to said that there's probably something that's happening at the beginning that you're not doing well. And fundamentally that probably makes sense, because there wouldn't be something happening later on that's called the problem. It's always the start. So my point to you is, whenever you're looking at where the problem has come from or why there's a problem, it's always important to take a knee, get back down to ground earth, take your head out of the clouds, take your head away from the noise, take your head away from all the distractions, and come down to where the problems typically have escalated. When you take your head and eyes away from all the noise and the distraction, you come down to a quieter place. And when in a quieter place, you can then start asking yourself questions. And if you don't know the answer, you can then ask the right people who may listen to your thoughts and comments and come up with a suggestion or a solution or alternative way of thinking and applying what you're trying to do. So the question I asked was, how do I improve my last 40 meters at 100? Now you could probably look at speed endurance, a number of different things. I even thought about taking a little bit of the heat away from how I get out the blocks. But if you look at the way Christian Coleman runs and Asafa Powell, they get to 60 meters in 6.4s and still have the ability to maintain. Now one thought was making sure you have a nice lean on the torso and then bring the hips through. I've always thought that is the right way to do it. Now having somebody that can see this in your technical run and keep on reminding you is what will probably enable your performances to improve. But you just got to have somebody that's constantly looking at these little bits. So I now know that's an area I will start to pay a little bit more attention to and add into my training program, just purely because it's an area that I know that will make a difference. Now, what drills, what routines, what stretching, what flexibility, what application to your program do you have to tweak in order to fit this in? Who knows? But that's again for you to decide with your coach. Now, I must stress all these points that I relate to you guys is me talking aloud about the things I know I have to do. No matter what you see on my training program, no matter what you see me doing training wise, please don't think that you can then follow it and do it, because the chances are the work rate that I'm working at, the intensity, the frequency, the volume may not be right for you. And as a result, you'll notice that you'll start to get hurt. Please understand, I have been doing this for 30 years. So my ability, my capacity, my patience, my durability is far greater than yours. So if you are looking at alternatives and want to understand things, please get in touch. I do have a training program that's free, that provides a free training program for athletes to download. It's www.dcdigitalcoach.com. If you want some more information, please email me and I can guide you through and talk to you. And if you are looking for individual programs, again, please get in touch. www.dcdigitalcoach.com. Now, getting back to my final point, I'm going to start looking at the things I can start applying to myself and improving, because I strongly believe I can still go out there and perform. However, if you're going to go out and perform, make sure you've got everything right. So when you do step on the line, you are ready to go.